afternoon. Guess what came in the post? This proper hardback, well, paperback rather, copy of Fragments. About 18 months ago, I had an idea that I wanted to write a novel that felt as though it would be a journey of my own experiences of grief, of loss, of bereavement. And I was sat there one day and I was just fiddling with my pen, and the pen was just tapping against a piece of paper. And I sat there and I thought, I'm having an idea. I might want to write this down. So that was about 18 months ago. Over that time, the genesis of Fragments it's been rather interesting actually. To get to this point, there's been a lot of developments, there's been a lot of reflection, a lot of self-awareness, and things have come and gone. I think my life has probably been described as something of a landing strip. There have been arrivals, there have been departures, there have been changes. And the whole process of writing Fragments truly has been a journey. And there's no different to what was going on in real life in relation to what was going on paper. Fragments started off like this. And I have two of these hardback books, labelled book 3, funnily enough, and 2016, so last year. I had the title because I started with it. It just seemed like the best thing to do at the time. So this was the first book, and absolute hours were spent with these two hardback books. And it was spent here. This is our kitchen table, and that's my chair. My chair, but this is the chair that I sat in writing with this, and absolute hours of writing went into this. And there's ink pen, there's biro, there's sections that I wrote in Lanzarote, there are sections that I wrote in Rome, because this book and the other one actually, with a dictionary and my pen, travelled, went everywhere. It went to work, it went on adventures in England, it went to adventures abroad. And okay, there were windows where I couldn't write for whatever reason, didn't have the time, didn't have the moment, didn't have the mojo. But this book went everywhere, and when I had the opportunity, I wrote. So hours and hours were spent on this, writing in longhand. I know there are people out there who will write, with a computer, and sure, that's their thing, but this is what helped me process things, helped me reflect, and committing thoughts to the page with a pen. I think is this ink or biro? I have no idea, but to use an ink and use a pen, it just made sense. The analogue had a lot more soul to offer me than digital would have. And so a great deal of time was spent writing by hand. Of course, this isn't going to be published like it is, so you have to turn it into digital. And that was the next stage of the actual process of this genesis, of this movement towards Fragments as a book. And in here are pages of stuff, edited, not edited, just a process of development really. So there's a great deal of movement and progress from this to this. These two objects, these two artifacts occupied a lot of my time. There's a lot of physical, a lot of mental energy put into these things. And I do believe there are bits of my soul in there. Sounds a bit random, I know, but if you've ever read Harry Potter, I did this without damaging anybody else, and there's no diary or what's it called, that tooth thing that Harry used to get rid of one of the Horcruxes. There are no bits of Voldemort floating around in my books, I assure you. So the process of writing, of editing, took up a lot of time, and it was something that I felt was a challenge, but it's something that I felt like I had to do. So there was writing, and I was also occupied by the cover. Up until now, I haven't put human beings on my cover. I don't particularly want to, and it's something that I might wrestle with, something that I might think about in the future. And over the last couple of years, I really got into gardening. I'm into gardening anyway, you know that. colouring and colouring for adults. I have a whole host of colouring books. And with those colouring books, I have pastels, soft pastels, and I decided that I really needed a cover that I felt happy with, a cover that I felt contribute to the story, and it, you know, it's going to showcase my book at the end of the day. So I sat down and I had some sugar paper and I had these pastels, and I remember thinking, I want this cover, and I want this cover to be really effective. It's got to be simple but effective. And I couldn't make up my mind as to what this cover would take in terms of the form. So what I did, in proper Francis Bacon triptych style, Google him, you'll find out he's slightly strange, but he's a very well-known British artist. So we have a triptych. The difference between my object here, fascination, and Francis Bacon, these aren't as macabre as you'd think. And this is the triptych. This was, I can't remember now when I actually created it, but blue was a theme, can you tell? But blue was definitely part of the picture. And I couldn't decide which one I wanted. And having three, it gave me the options to choose. And I remember putting these on social media and saying, folks, these are 3 pieces of art that I've done. Which one do you feel naturally drawn to? Which one do you gravitate to? I did, I must confess, have a favourite. And I didn't make this known because obviously that would bias the response. So the options were 1, 2 and 3. Choose, please. And to be fair, I did get a response. Some of it was quite, you know, very reflective. And I was like, just pick that one. And the winner was that. So, didn't have a name until later. And this was the one image, artifact I guess, that had the most attention. So I got the most votes. And that is now the cover of the book.